Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Elden Ring Unpatched, our Fear the Old Lore playthrough where we go through the version 1.00 game. Yesterday we left off obviously in the Mountaintops of the Giants. I don't want to say did the first section because it's really big and there's a lot to cover. So we went through Castle Sol. I made the little jump off the edge to Ordina just to kind of show that off. So today we're going to continue by talking to Corhyn and Goldmask and then probably going through towards the Flame Garrison. Maybe we'll do the Catacombs that are up here, the Giant War Hero one, whatever it's called. And then maybe heading towards the secret entrance towards the Halig Tree. So, I hope everyone is doing well. Mucho Stretchy, Mercy, nice to see both of you again. Last night when we finished off, I had mentioned that of the second of the second ghost in Castle Sol, there was a slight difference in the Japanese, but I couldn't quite remember what it was. So, right after stream yesterday, I posted in the Elden Ring lore section of my Discord server a comparison between the Japanese text and the English text. So just to go back over that ghost dialogue in English, he says, "The sun has not yet been swallowed, our prayers were lacking, your comrade remains soulless. I'll never set my eyes upon it now, your divine Halig tree." And the translation is pretty good for the most part, except there's a couple things in Japanese that are a little bit hard to get across. The first thing is when it says the sun has not been swallowed. Swallowed uses mushibamu, which I've talked about before in some of my previous videos and a bit more on stream as well, where it's a term that FromSoft likes to use to talk about curses and things like that. So the literal translation for mushibamu would be like worm or like moth-eaten, like something that's been gnawed through. So like it comes up in Dark Souls 3 with like gnaw, the spell. It also comes up in Elden Ring, more specifically related to Godwyn, because the weathered dagger and the marred leather shield, all those things are described as like worm-eaten. So to tie it into that, the term mushibamu uses the same kanji that's used for in Eclipse. So it does seem to be like a thematic, I don't want to say like play on words, but like an intentional choice by the developers to kind of tie in the idea of the curse with the Eclipse a bit more explicitly in this game compared to some of their others. Now, with that being said, saying that the sun has not been swallowed, that's perfectly straightforward enough. Like, obviously the sun hasn't been eclipsed, but you just don't get that little bit of nuance that's there in the Japanese, which really isn't that big a deal. The third line where he says, your comrade remains soulless, the Japanese is slightly different, and it's more implying the reason that they can't eclipse the sun is because his comrade is still soulless. Like, that could be a reference to Godwyn himself. That's what seems the most likely, because it's a ghost, so it should still have a soul, as far as I know, from like how the other ghosts are described in like the spirit ashes and stuff. So the final two lines about he'll never set his eyes upon it now, the divine Halig tree. In English, he says, I will never set my eyes upon it now, which I understand why they kind of went that route, because the Japanese doesn't distinguish who the subject is, but the ghost could also be talking about Miquella's soulless comrade being unable to see the Halig tree. So if that soulless comrade is supposed to be a reference to Godwyn, it would show that Miquella needed Godwyn potentially to complete his Halig tree, which I know is going to set off like a lot of the lore tinfoil hatters over there with all the Miquella stuff and Godwyn stuff, especially going into Shadows of the Erdtree, or Shadow of the Erdtree. So, yeah. All in all, these are very minor differences, but it's just how much these minor differences can have like major implications, which is the kind of thing that interests me in terms of like translation. So I do want to reiterate, like it's not a bad translation by any means. I would have like maybe the only thing that I think that they got really wrong about that would just be like the lost implication that it's because his comrade is soulless that their prayers couldn't swallow the sun. So that's pretty much it. But yeah, okay. Went through all that. So Vacuous and Katie, nice to see both of you again. Do I think the noble gold mask is really noble? You know, I should probably look at that in Japanese, because I assume they might mean like noble as in like righteous, but that's a funny question. Yeah, and as Mucho Stretchy says, the Eclipse Hotel seems to be a half Halbrand shape, which, you know, ties into Godwin. So, alright. Now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and listen to Gold Mask. Very insightful as always. And now, our boy Corhyn.
Nice to see you. I can't believe you've come all this way. I've been gripped by a terrifying thought. The rhythms and calculus of the Master's finger betray a suspicion of the holism of the Golden Order, a conceit, I am afraid, that cannot be overlooked. Oh, but how could this be? I dread to even entertain the possibility, but somehow I cannot cast aside my doubts about the Master. Tell me, have I simply lost my head? Only, if the Master were true to the Golden Order, why would he think to breach this forbidden mount of fire? Oh, Master, put my mind at ease. Dispel these fearsome thoughts. I want to place my trust in you, to be your scribe.
Right, sorry for the silence there. I was actually looking up the noble gold mask thing. So yeah, the final kanji that they put on his moniker does mean that he's like a lord or a noble. So maybe noble gold mask is meant a little bit more on the literal side. Spoonbender, welcome back. You just discovered the strokes. Oh no. Spoonbender, did you hear the news about the strokes by any chance? You thought I was just repeating what Goldmask said right now? Alright, so... Oh, very well, Stretchy. I see what you mean. Yeah, going back to what Corhyn says, when he says that Goldmask discovered, or he thinks that, he's being conceited, it's because in Corhyn's eyes, obviously, he believes that Marika is the one true god. We're the one who told Goldmask about Maragon, Radika, whatever you want to call the two, and Corhyn just kind of discovered it through Goldmask wagging his finger at the Urgi, I guess, which is kind of fun. Okay, so for Spoonbender, apparently the bassist for the Smiths just passed away. I believe it was yesterday. I actually was listening to Panic and thinking about that. So a little bit of sad news, but I'm glad you're just being able to discover the strokes. They have some phenomenal music, if nothing else. Don't look too much into Morrissey, though. He's kind of a giant piece of shit. But very catchy songwriter, nonetheless. Then again, what Rockstar isn't kind of a big piece of poop. Alright, so... Sorry to be a little bit all over the place with the commentary there. So... This is why Corhyn is starting to have doubts into Goldmask, because... Goldmask is questioning the most basic tenets of the Golden Order, even though Goldmask is definitely on the right track of things, because, High and Dry, all of a sudden, now you're making a Radiohead reference. Alright, anyway, so, Now that we saved the Tonic of Forgetfulness from Tanith, we can present it to Corhyn here. So let's go see what he says about that.
What is this? It will make me forget, you say, so that I can push aside these frightful thoughts. Would that I could. Would that I could.
So it's a little bit ambiguous as to whether or not Corhyn takes the tonic. I don't really think he does, because he doesn't seem to, pretty much. So, did he get any more incantations? He might have. No, maybe not. I should pay attention to this someday. Alright.
May the Golden Order shine through you.
So these guys should stay here for the rest of this time up until we begin to burn the Erd Tree. And like one of the weirdest things to me about Corhyn is he questions Goldmask and is saying like he's an heretic, but this dude is wearing the prophet robes which say that they got kicked out of their homes for seeing fire in the Erd Tree or in the Golden Order or something along those lines. So he's seen some heretical stuff himself, so I think it's probably just more of a more self-imposed. What's the word? Shame or guilt that he kind of has, and so he's probably hoping, and you know this is big conjecture, that by following Goldmask, who's like a pillar of Golden Order principles, I guess, if you want to call him that he could rely on Goldmask to kind of set him back on the proper path, since he saw this kind of heretical vision, perhaps. But again, that is just pure speculation there. So, now that we've left those two alone, let's go ahead and go back on over to the other bridge, because I think that's the one that's going to have the Great Hood Ghost. And to be honest, I didn't bother getting it on either my 1.0 playthrough, so I don't know if he'll actually have the Great Hood and or if its description will change. Alright, wait, where is it? Okay, there it is. They have golden eyes up until the end. Escar's Great Hood. Ooh. It's really cool looking like that. Okay. Hood with a mysterious silhouette. Very mysterious indeed. Watch out, Big Hat Logan. We've got a big hood in town. Why is Goldmask so tall? That's a very interesting question. I don't know. Because he was sure to eat his vegetables. He probably saw it and considered it to be dreadful. Yeah, that's kind of how I would try to rationalize it. So, this is... I didn't remember... I wasn't paying attention to the text that popped up on screen, so maybe it said Stargazing Ruins, which is a hint as to, like, Aurelia, the Spirit Jellyfish's questline. But with these two done over here, let's go over to the Minor Erd Tree real quick, and then we'll go to the invisible ramp. Actually, might be smarter to get the side of Grace over there. No, that's really out of the way, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Never mind. Because it's night, the demi-humans have red eyes and are more aggressive to us rather than just like regular aggressive, I guess. Radon basically prevented Godwin's death by holding back the stars, which caused the eclipse not to work. I don't know if he would have held back Godwin's death, because Godwin isn't a Carian as far as we know. Why do they call him Grey Hood Escar? Why? Okay, so these bramble things... No, maybe they are part of an Erd tree. I'm a little bit skeptical, and I almost believe that the Erd tree would have just like grown in between all of them. Well, let's look at like the offshoots. I don't know enough about plants to tell if those are a different thing or if they're the same thing. I guess they kind of look like what you would get on a golden seed, which I need to remember to try to use. So maybe all of the plant, like the trees down there in the Forbidden Lands, were just from an Erd tree? Which could potentially explain like the red wisps. 18 Sith, what's going on? You just noticed after you burn the Erd tree, you can blink these branches in the sea at the base of the Erd tree in Caelid. You can see them. Okay. So we should get another... avatar of some sort. I'm trying to remember if this is an ulcerated. Okay, no, it is... Oh, that's kind of weird looking with all the effects. Curious how much this is going to do. Well, that did nothing. I was trying to go to dual hand it. Doesn't this one like clone itself? Oh, well, it does it if you don't kill it, I think. I probably should have held back. But honestly, no mercy for those things. Alright, Cerulean Crystal tier and a Crimson Bubble tier. I might need to check my flasks again. Say that thing like all the time. Check your flasks, increase your capacity, and I forget. Almost without fail. Mucho heard an interesting idea about the Giant's Flame being a purifying force, leaving only the spirits of whatever was burned away behind. Yeah, that's something I've wondered as well. If Flame had the power to burn gold, which, you know, is will, and if so doing, it would allow the spirit to just kind of become unanchored from the physical aspect of the lands between, and then just become able to travel in peace to space and or like the primeval current through like the moon or stars or something. So flasks. I should have remembered that. Oh, I could have another charge. That's crazy. Okay. I'm thinking of the physic. Stability. It's a good effect, but let's test this out real quick. Alright, yeah, it's not just one spell, so just... So as long as that little like blue stuff's on me. Oh, alright, it fell off. So that's a decent amount of time. So let's head on back to my most hated bridge in the entire game. After leveling up, that is. Thought better of it for once. Right, so this thing I hyped up towards the end of last stream. I don't really know how to like frame this properly, because on one hand it is kind of a big revelation, but it also says nothing at the same time. So I'm kind of excited to show it off, even if it's not that big a deal, all things considered. I don't want to go across this bridge. This one sucks. It's a lot easier when you do this online because you've got everybody's death things. Because somebody thought it was a really good idea to put a tiny amount of blue and white over a blue and white background. How do colorblind people do this? This is terrible. Okay. Damn it. This is so bad. And even if you like pull out the telescope, it doesn't help that much. So it's almost like you have to do like the crystal cavern bullcrap where you need to like drop a bunch of prism stones. But it's not. It's just such a pain. I know I saw it for a second there, but now I'm being all paranoid. Well, if I walk to my death, big surprise. Okay. I thought I was fine. Does 1.0 have the deadly fall protection where you like won't fall off a cliff when R1ing? Because you can just do that. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Horfrost Stomp. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Using the tools that we have in the game. We could try. I'll try both. The nice thing is, I meant to do that because now I know where the end of the bridge is, right? I can see it really clearly now. It looks like it's supposed to go left there. Oh my god, that's so much easier. Why did I never think of that? Anyway, heretical glintstone rice. Oh. I was like, it's not letting me attack or anything because of the little prompt was on the screen still. Ay caramba. So we talked about these briefly, but these kind of glintstone looking like things may not be glintstone. They kind of more or less remind me of the land throughout Altus Plateau with the gold veins going through them, and or they might be related to smithing stones, like the hard ones specifically. Yo, Spaghetti, welcome back to the stream. Almost walked off the edge. Still need to upgrade my weapon, but I don't have enough of the stones yet. Alright everybody, here we go. Goliath's Reign of Stars. Release magic from within to perform a downpour. So we don't know who Goliath is, but I know some people have wondered whether or not Selen could have been the one who founded the founding Reign of Stars. I don't really think that works out for a couple of reasons. Not because of the whole like Goliath situation, but because she seems to be following the steps of Lusat and Azur, so she couldn't possibly have been the one to discover founding Reign of Stars if there were already glintstone sorcerers who predated her. If you take the retail version of it at face value, where it says it's considered the founding glintstone sorcery. So yeah, I don't know if I would consider this Selen's crib stretchy. Why is that thing so damn angry? What weapon is that? Alright, so that's pretty much it for this Glintstone Rise. And then this will give us a more or less straight shot towards the Flame Guardian's garrison. If we ignore like everything and just get straight on over there. And now we don't need to fight Borealis directly. And we just get to some of the worst parts of the Mountaintops. Pretty much where they just reuse the dogs and crows from Caelid without ever really explaining it. My headcanon is obviously that I do think that Caelid, the Mountaintops, and the Forbidden Lands are probably all connected together at some point in history, and that could explain the repetition of these types of enemies. At first, when I first got to Caelid, I thought the giant dogs and things were mutated from the Scarlet Rot, which I thought was way cooler than how they just kind of ended up being repeated over here. You remember you asked your friend and myself about the Japanese for the spell a long time ago, and both of you like it's not clear in Japanese? Yep, sometimes it really do be that way. Yeah, it's really weird because sometimes the Japanese is a bit more explicit about things, and then other times it can be even more vague. It's not very common that it becomes more vague. Well, maybe that's not quite true. Like a better way to say it would be, oh Lord. That it allows for more interpretation sometimes. So maybe it's not really such a stretch to say that it's more vague. Because sometimes it's just a downfall of like translating from one language to another, where you have to come to a decision for one thing, and that kind of closes off other interpretations of a word or phrase. Vague in a new fun way? Yeah, maybe. Maybe the dogs and stuff were taken by the flame monks to be guard animals? I doubt it. Yeah, they do use different textures here and in Caelid, but nonetheless, it's still kind of disappointing that they're just here. Alright. So coming up here, I meant to like show it off a bit more, so I'm just going to go ahead and reset the area. Oh, it says it right there. So we're at the Consort's Evergaol, but nonetheless, let's just get the big text back up on the screen because it's cool. On retail, this is called the Lord Contender's Evergaol. And as we come into here, we will get to see our... Wait. It just said the Erd Tree refuses all. And let me try to hop on out of that again. The massive skulls in Caelid and the Mountaintops give you the impression of a time before prehistory. Like if there was a Titanomachia that the gods fought in the past or something. Yeah. Consort's Evergaol. Okay. Examine. The Erd Tree refuses all. Not on my book. Alright. Can't believe I never noticed that. That's silly. Poor Vike. He never got into the Erd Tree because he got refused. Ponyboy, welcome back. Apologies if this was answered the other day during the laggy stream, but any lore to be gotten from the Blade of Gold, its location, and why Melina uses it in the Morgott fight? Not really, to be honest. Because Melina's supposed to be a kindling maiden, and it would be cooler if her golden flames were unique to just her, but since we can replicate it in the Ash of War, it's a little bit ambiguous as to whether or not that should be her skill or a previous kindling maiden's, which I think, fair enough. It's probably her skill, no matter how you slice it. But yeah, there's really not a lot to be said about it. As far as it being like in the Divine Tower area, in retail, since there's like the official's attire or whatever it is that talks about like sending people on their secret missions, I think that more can speak more to what happened with Melina, perhaps, that she was sent on that kind of mission by somebody else. And with Marika and Radigan's Source Seals, that might also play into like why Melina's one eye is closed. Maybe she was cursed to fulfill her mission, just like whoever got cursed by Marika and Radigan previously. Hey Spectrum, welcome back to the stream, man. Yeah, and I have no tangible explanation for why she would have the Miranda's Prayer spell. Or why she can summon like the Erd Tree manifestation. Other than like my headcanon, begrudging headcanon that Marika and Melina could be the same person to a certain degree, in the same way that like maybe Melina is to, or sorry, not Melina, the same way that Millicent is to Millennia. Too many M names, man. You were just curious if that location had any implications with her that you weren't aware of. Well, it is going to the Forbidden Lands where you do need to take the path in order to get fire to burn the Erd Tree, so that is, at least it's thematic. Because she was trained in Miranda's Flower, it's why Mucho feels more confident about someone like Radigan and his motivations compared to the black hole that is Melina. Spectrum asks, regarding Bernal saying all recusants will die, does it mean he knows about Rykard or simple dying to get stronger tarnished? I think it's like survival of the fittest in Volcano Manor. So I think they're killing other tarnished to consolidate runes, to get strength, to challenge the other demigods, but who knows? Do I think the Scar Seals are actually Maragon's eyes? I would say no, because there's 4 of them. So with Marika and Radigan, I think they have one eye at least, because I know like her face is fractured, but I'm pretty sure there's still one eye left. Right, so anyway, let's get our cover image boy in here. Vike the Dragon Spear. So one of the cooler things about Vike here is, compared to where we fight him in the Frenzy Flame Village, he doesn't use frenzy-styled magic at all, and even his War Spear doesn't inflict madness. See? So, I'm really confused as to what that could possibly imply. Like, is this Vike the real Vike was the one that we saw over in the Frenzy Flame Village an imposter? I don't know. And obviously, with him being the Dragon Spear, he uses Dragon Communion incantations. I might need to be right back. Wait, there was a Frenzy Flame one. I've never seen him use it. Alright, hold on. I gotta deal with the dog. So I'm just gonna die here. Be right back. And then this is the kind of noob trap setup killer. If we try to come this way, the boulder comes crashing through. And then you just fight a bunch of Cabra demons, a bunch of Taurus demons, and so having another recycled... Why is that back now? Well, you got by the oldest one in the book. Venom says, when you started this playthrough, you mentioned how obvious the ball rolling trap was, and I thought he's going to fall for it on a second trip through the asylum. I figured he probably didn't have a lot of hits with this Byhander. Wait, what? That's actually really, really funny. Just straight up assassinated right there. Okay. Let's go get our damn souls back. So now we should have a little time to read chat. Nix what I said about the souls, guys. So if I remember correctly, you actually just need to walk off here. You don't run. Because that screwed me up for a while. Well, sometimes I just get stubborn. Which I really shouldn't do on stream. I tell myself not to do it on stream, and then I end up doing it anyway. Alright. Or then I say, let's play smarter, and then I continue to do the exact stupid thing that got me in the situation in the first place. There's our stairs over there. Damn it! I think I should survive the fall. Unless we get hit by, like, the skull again. I was wrong. Oh, that jerk. So much for preserving my humanity. Pinwheel's like the Volnir of Dark Souls 1. His appearance and lore seem super cool, but kind of a joke fight. So does he just like clone himself infinitely or something? No. Oh shit, he killed him. Okay. I didn't even see him hit him. The Tomb of the Giants is a pretty scary area, especially on a first playthrough. I'll just go ahead and say it so we get cursed. I do kind of remember the layout of the area, but a lot of the specifics are hard to remember. Byhander, and I think as we start to go down now we get shot at, if we're not being shot at right now. Okay. I thought there was a way to fall there. Shows how well I actually remember that layout. Actually, let's try to be smart for once. Wait, I don't think I have any of the prism stones. That's all of my stones are in Dark Souls 3. I think it's a little bit further to the left. Spamming the R2. We said we're going to go about this normal style. It's actually going this way. And then we Slide down here. And make a right? Oh, it's this one, isn't it? That we just dropped down. Okay, okay, so I was misremembering where. So now we should be like right by the bonfire. It's like down there, yeah. See, I do kind of remember where I'm going, I just don't remember the specifics. I almost stepped off the cliff right then. Okay.
If I do go hollow, then finish me off. I beg of you.
But at the very least, with Miyazaki's interviews, I mean, I guess it doesn't like... Alright. I am back. Sorry for the delay. Everything is good. So, we were just off at the Consort's Evergaol, not the Lord Contender's Evergaol, where we were fighting Vike. And you guys are saying in retail he doesn't have any Frenzy Flame attacks. That sounds right. I was kind of shocked that he actually managed to pull one off. Oh wait, no, that might have just been the... Was it just the War Spear attack that he did? The Urge Tree refuses all. I got distracted by the dogs, so I wasn't paying the most attention. So hopefully we can show some of that stuff off again. Melina being more parallel to Millicent makes more sense to you than Gloam-Eyed Queen being Melina. Well, even with that stuff, like, Melina does end up with a gloam-colored eye, potentially, so I understand why people do and do not want to believe it. Like, I don't necessarily want to believe it, it's just, it answers a lot of questions better than some other theories. You know, better being a bit subjective there. You're one of the 3 people in the anti-Gloam-Eyed Queen Melina camp? Okay, so that was his... Yeah, that's the War Spear move. That could kind of make sense. Because he's not really doing the incantations. Wait, that's not making me mad either. Wait, we tried that in the Frenzy Flame Village, where his flames didn't do damage. Yeah, okay. He jumped over it. That's such a player move. Ah. He outranged me. I really need to upgrade this. So yeah, he still can't be frozen. Ooh, that sucks. He can't be frozen or bled. He's got like super boss resistances for some reason. Thinking about Omen not being at the Halig Tree, is it possible it has to do with Morgoth being the Omen King? Maybe. They could have been like sealed away and like they didn't get free, but that also doesn't fully align with how there are just some random Omen chilling throughout Altus Plateau. That's annoying. Oof. Is it that he cares the Golden Order? He cares for the Golden Order and is opposed to the Halig Tree? Maybe. So I got hit directly, but it did. Oh, damn it. Why does he have 2 flasks? All the other invaders only ever had 1. I thought he only did that twice. Man, he's annoying. Should roll to the side. It didn't roll there. Okay. That's cool, I guess. I don't think I could summon my Mimic tier there to cheese it. Sith thinks it's because the Omen are just connected and attributed to the Crucible, which is the young Erd tree. I wondered if they could potentially predate it, but I don't really think that makes a ton of sense, because they seem to have features that shouldn't belong to them with the horns. But I also don't really know why they're graceless. That's one thing that bothers me. Kind of the same thing with the Misbegotten. I don't know if they got taken away. The Halig tree is Mikkela's invention. Yeah, the dogs. Are there any other beings linked to the Crucible at the Halig tree? There's the Misbegotten. Mucha says that, okay. Oh. It's good that Vike is tarnished. Oh, yeah. I could probably Deathblight him, can't I? We should be able to do that. Let's get got by him. Watch it just, like, not work. I mentioned the cannibal disease is bogus. Did I look into the cases in Papua New Guinea in that context? Yeah, those ones are real. There's a thing about the rash that was not so true. It's like an urban legend, I guess. Damn it. I was trying to go for the backstab and I failed. The Misted does nothing. Yeah, it might actually be kind of hard to deathblight him without, like, the Shotel. I was waiting for that other flask. Thought he was gonna flask up again. Oh man, I looked away at chat and I just got. Why was that not a backstab? I should not roll backwards. Need to roll at angles. The Papua New Guinea thing was interesting in that it's random mutation that causes it. So someone just was unlucky enough to have it, and the practice of eating the brain matter transmitted it. Yeah. I was slow on my roll. Oh yeah, I don't have the stab anymore. Unfortunately, I like crouched in the middle of that, so that cut my running speed a lot. Here we go. I was like wondering if it was ever going to end. Vike's Dragon Bolt and then the fingertip set. Hey, Astanex, welcome back to the stream. The Elden Lord who wasn't. Yeah, and you missed it earlier, probably, but this is the Consort's Evergaol in this version of the game. Oh, yeah. Wait, what did we get? Maybe it wasn't any of these. Okay. No, it was Vike's Dragon Bolt. Gives weapon lightning buff, but lowers resistance. This is the one where he calls, like, Vike the beloved of the dragons, essentially. Of Landsax. Deformed helm of a mad knight in despair. Oh, it's even more explicit here. That even Vike was in despair. That's cool. Okay. Headcanon reaffirmed. Alright. So that is Vike complete. Now we can go to the Flame Garrison, which is one of my favorite areas for, like, environmental lore storytelling. Believe it or not. So that'll be fun to show off. Sad FromSoft never gave us the Dragon Waifu Landsax. Dinner was good. You made a basic stir fry? Nice. I love stir fry. Can be delicious. Almost hitting that 60 threshold. Didn't realize I could level up twice. So, we've mentioned the Thorn Ladies only briefly in passing. They have the Staff of the Guilty, which is supposed to have like a sacrifice at the top of it. And its blood is supposed to form into glintstone, like red glintstone. Kind of hard to make out with without the free cam mod. You can kind of see like the red crystals at the very top. Oh, that's pretty decent. You can ignore my character, holy crap. And these brambles, I wonder if they're supposed to be related to the petrified giants that we see on top of the mountaintops. And they also have like brambles on their heads, so they're supposed to be guilty. Oh, she has red eyes? Huh. Don't think I ever really noticed that. is there anything that suggests Vike knew what sacrificing his maiden really meant? The fact that he's an ancient dragon loyalist could be suggestive of something, maybe. Yeah, I don't think he knew what that entailed, and I think the reason he became despondent or full of despair now that that's kind of been established in a somewhat canon way is because he didn't anticipate that would happen. Hold on, let me deal with the dog real quick. Oof, they're being a handful tonight, but it's all good. Okay. Yeah, so with Vike, I don't think he knew what to expect. Although it is kind of weird because if the maiden in the Church of Inhibition is supposed to be his maiden, wouldn't you expect her to be like all charred and fried and stuff? Maybe she didn't actually sacrifice herself like we thought. Maybe he thought what he did could spare her? And then maybe she died anyway? Might have to think about that a bit more. Of course, the real answer could be she actually canonically sacrificed herself, but FromSoft just didn't make another unique corpse model. But who likes to think of things that way, right? I was a little bit scared there for a second. I should let them do some of their attacks, though. Tangent regarding the Godskins. Do any bodies in mausoleums look flayed? No, so the thing about FromSoft's assets is they typically don't really have a lot of corpse assets to, like, diversify things. I say that as I look at, like, one of the more unique models that they use, but in all of their games, they've kind of been like that. When did you get the dog away from that? Damn it, why did the dude get aggro? So Flame Guardian has a red name. And they fade away? That's annoying. Okay. But as we come up here, we should be able to show off what I was hoping to. That was weird. It was almost like it got frozen in the one hit, which I wouldn't expect. Damn it. Didn't expect it to see me. That's Metal Gear Solid Snake our way. That's pointless. So if you look closely at the Flame Guardians, these dudes actually have Erdtree Guardian masks on. They do have the Giant's Red Braid though, which is kind of funny. So this implies to me that Erdtree Guardians and the Flame Guardians were originally the same. Alright, Katie, you have a good night. Yeah, my dog is throwing a fit, trying to get himself like tucked in under the blankets. He is distracting me. So anyway, yeah, with the potential that the Flame Guardians and the Erdtree Guardians being the same, I do wonder exactly how that came to be, because, you know, Marika did curse the final fire giant or whatever to follow her mission or whatnot. So, when did everything change is kind of what I wonder. And coming over here, we have the Flame Monk Arganthy, or Flame Guardian Arganthy, Chief Guardian Arganthy. And he has on, like, the official attire, as well as the, almost like the Murray mask. No, it is the Tree Guardian mask. Oh yeah, we never showed off Marley Murray. Or whatever his name is. So maybe I need to roll forward. Okay. I rolled too early. Holy crap. Trying to see if you'll use any of that like reddish black flame stuff that we saw the other ones use. Nope, that's certainly red. Where did the dogs come from? Holy crap, man. They cheated. One-eyed shield. You got a Golden Order seal tattoo? Nice. You'd rather have real dogs being a handful than these ones? Yeah. By Erdtree Guardian, do I mean the flower dudes by the Erdtrees? Yes, that's it exactly. Maybe I'll go by one of them to show them off. Because unfortunately, I don't have any of the masks. I should probably farm over by Lane Dell to get the blooming ones before we switch the world state. Giant's Prayer Book. Scroll containing incantations. It doesn't say a thing. So, I've wondered whether or not the Giant's Prayer Seal can be related either to the Two-Finger Seal or also potentially the Celian or Nox ones. And more like particularly the ones with like the giant ball dropping out of them. Just because they have like a kind of a similar silhouette at the least. Alright. So that's about it for here. We just have a bunch of like flame monks patrolling down there, as well as a fire prelate that we might be able to fight. There's something inconsistent about the minor Erdtrees and even Mikkela's Halig tree. Erdtree seeds are implied to be a product of the Shattering, judging from descriptions, but how is that possible? Yeah, that's one thing that's been strange to me as well. Because it would almost seem like these minor Erdtrees should have existed long beforehand. So, one possible explanation that you can have for it is that the minor Erdtrees didn't necessarily need to come from seeds. They could just be offshoots of the big Erdtree, which kind of makes sense if you consider like all of the roots potentially being connected at one point in history. There is examples of those types of trees in real life. I forget what it's always like. I always forget what it's called. Like the largest organism on Earth is this kind of one tree system where it's just like spans pretty much an entire forest, but it's all technically one tree. Like, if you didn't know any better, it just seemed like another forest, I guess. But, oh, one thing. And so they actually have, like, had to conceal the location of the original tree just to, deter, like, arsonists, I guess. And obviously, like, they don't conceal the actual tree, they just don't say which one the original is. So I do wonder, like, if the original did get arsonized or whatnot. If it got damaged, would that, like, entire forest kind of place die? I don't know. I need to, like, look into that one a little bit more. Alright, Spectrum, thanks for stopping in. You take care. Arsonized, yeah. Is that an actual word, or are you just making fun of me? Because I don't think it's a word. Can't backstab it? Okay. Its gravity is too thunderous, apparently. No lucky drops. You forgot the name, but you know what I'm talking about. They're super skinny, right? I don't remember what they actually look like, but I think the idea of the Erd Tree might be similar to that, at least. Wouldn't it have propagated naturally, as in rooting itself and spreading as intended? It seems like it would continue that process without the original. Are you talking about the real one, or like the actual Erd Tree? I'm sorry, it's a little bit confusing. So that's kind of cool to show off, like some of the Briar incantations. Because they can just kind of grow out of nothing and blood, you might be able to, in a certain sense, relate it to the Halig tree. In an indirect way. Okay, there we go. It's kind of annoying that their health doesn't go down when they do their own attacks. Only our health. And so, with those attacks right there, well, not this one specifically, but the other ones, I wonder if it's supposed to tie into these gigantic posts specifically. Because they look thorny, they look like something completely different from the other types of trees, the potential Erd trees over here, and obviously the big golden one. Hey Capenda, welcome back in. Okay, you're talking about the actual tree. Wouldn't it be propagated naturally as in rooting itself and spreading as intended? It seems like it would continue that process without the original. It would have to be an organism if it all died, if the original was destroyed. Yeah, I don't know. And also Spectre, welcome back in. If the original is the central organism, then yes, there's a very good chance that the rest of them would scientifically speaking, I think you word all the other trees to slowly die off too, if they're like actual one tree. Okay. Yeah, I'll need to look into it. Not that it will like really matter. I'm just kind of curious now that we've talked about it. Because I figure they probably are trying to hide the knowledge of the location of the original for a reason. But the reason could just be because they don't want anybody screwing around with it. And whoever would go after it would probably just target the original rather than just any random one. So maybe that could be part of the rationale. I don't know. Alright, so yeah, the environmental lore storytelling that I was talking about in the Flame Guardian Garrison was because of like their masks, which does show that like the Flame Guardians essentially were put into place by Marika et al. So let's check out our new map. Okay, nothing too crazy there. Yeah, people are dumb. They'd vandalize it or cut it down to see what would happen. They also want to keep it alive because it's old. Yeah, exactly. So as we come closer to the Forge of the Giants, we do get more cinders coming up through the air, but we don't really get the same kind of tendril type effect that we would see in the Forbidden Lands. So that's why when we did go through the stream at the beginning of yesterday, I did ponder whether or not the wisps were supposed to be related to the Forge of the Flame of the Giants, just because there is a similar kind of particle effect, but they do seem distinct and different. So, putting that aside, as we begin to go through this upper section of the mountaintops, we can see giants that have been like petrified, but if you look closely, they're covered in brambles, and they even have the same kind of thorn tree statue things that we just saw at the Flame Garrison, where we have a bunch of the thorn sorcerers who also follow the flame monks, I guess, for whatever reason. So there might have been like a perversion of the religion there, obviously, because like the flame monks would have been originally flame guardians that were appointed by America, and I don't want to say the Golden Order because that should have been like before times, but like the Erdtree dudes. So why these giants are petrified like this, and or who caused them to become this way, is something that's really bothered me, and I don't really have a good explanation. One thing that I have thought of, and this is super conjecture, so, you know, trust it as far as you can throw it, is that since Godwyn is related to Deathroot, could he have used these types of tree-style attacks while he was alive? And could these potentially be related to him? If that were the case, that still wouldn't explain the Thorn Sorcerers very well. And just to, like, dispel any doubt that the Thorn Sorcerers are related to, like, the Flame Monks, besides them, you know, like, just kind of sticking next to each other. On the Fire Prelates set, they do carry a Thorned Whip, which is pretty clearly related to, like, the Thorn Sorceries and whatnot. Bloodborne versus Elden Ring lore, go. How's it going, Bjarki? You messed up, but essentially if it's like a normal tree as a whole, they should all be affected, but some factors could prevent it and affect this and allow them to still be there. Okay. Thank you, Spectre. Appreciate that. Making good use of your studies, I see. Did I? Yeah, I should have rested, but let's just be safe. So let's go on over... Considering we've got Okina one way and then just the Catacombs the other. We could also go to Borealis' area and pick up the Golden Order Greatsword. What's in this cave? What is in that one? I'm trying to blank on what's supposed to be there. I know that the one I'm thinking of is in the Consecrated Snowfield anyway. Okay. The thorns on them can also be seen as Radagon's Barbs, Stormveil, and Chapel of Anticipation. Not sure what it means, but it's another strange connection between Radagon and Godwyn. So yeah, I'd be more confident in saying that this stuff should have been related to Radagon, especially with, like, the thorns refusing all. Except he never uses any of these types of attacks in his fight, which I think is super unfortunate. Do I get the impression that the brambles impaling the giants sprouted from the ground or fell from above? I think they sprouted from the ground in a similar way to the thorn sorceries, but honestly I never thought about them falling from above. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe they were like just big ass arrows. and then they like rooted after the fact. No strong lore preference, you take it? How about gameplay preference? I didn't understand your question. I thought you wanted me to like list all the lore comparison style. No, I prefer Bloodborne. It's a lot more self-contained, and I just kind of like the mystique of it a bit more than how it's presented in Elden Ring. Gameplay, I'd probably also say Bloodborne, but I think it's a little bit apples and oranges comparing Bloodborne and Elden Ring, because Elden Ring has a lot better game systems to go through with it. Alright, so as we come up here, we also have more trolls. These ones are covered in hair, like yetis or abominable snowmen, whatever you want to call them. And they still have the like troll greatsword or whatever it's called that's been like tinged with gold. Maybe not tinged, like coated. Yeah, coated in gold. So these things betrayed the other giants and served the Erd Tree. They are tanky boys, but they are susceptible to bleed. So their abdomens are exposed. I've wondered whether or not the reason that the trolls' abdomens are all exposed is because they've gotten rid of the flame giant faces, or the flame of the... what's it called? The Fell God's visage within their chests. But either way, they're still a lot smaller than giants. In some ways, it seems like the trolls are meant to be a completely different race, obviously. But then again, they're also called giants in other places. So it's a little bit of a mess trying to untangle that. So it's probably like a little bit of both. You think in your headcanon they're the bolts that erupted from the forge? But the sprout makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think they're supposed to be related to thorn sorceries. It just seems too similar to not be the case, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe I should get rid of these little hands. So coming up here, we have a lot of finger crawlers. And I know a lot of people like to think that they're related to Rykard, especially because of the rings. But it is a little bit questionable just why there's so many up here as opposed to other places. So in traditional fashion, this doesn't have the text on it. In retail, this is the one that says the trolls betray the giants and the age of the Erd Tree begins. So this monument is troublesome because if you take it at face value, it would make it sound as though the age of the Erd Tree began after the war against the giants and that the giants couldn't or shouldn't have been able to burn an Erd Tree, which brings into question like when the cardinal sin could have even like possibly occurred. But if you just take it as more of like a monument that you shouldn't really trust, is just more like propaganda based on the Erd Tree champions, then you could still make the argument that the Erd Tree probably existed in some capacity during the war against the giants, because how else would the cardinal sin have been committed? And hey guys, it's night, and in this version of the game there is no night music other than this. The handles on those big sword spikes can also be seen on the giant crusher. The fingies. With the trolls being smaller than the giants, you always figured they lost stature and power forsaking the giants. The flame giants were empowered by the flame god and one of two. So as we come up to the catacombs, we do have the headless dude carrying a body, and they all point directly towards the Erd Tree. is kind of cool. And this is my favorite catacombs in the game. We do have potentially like an Erdtree on the top of it, the door, which is, you know, not that different. Hey Stella, welcome back to the stream. You always took the cardinal sin as a prophecy that existed in visions until the Tarnished. Well, I think Ania says that it's like already happened once before, but I might be misremembering what she says, but it's kind of weird that they would have a cardinal sin that just like never happened, I guess. I guess that's not impossible, it's just a little bit weird. Giant conquering hero's grave. Okay, I always forget what this is actually called. Berserk reference, Snowy Field of Swords. Yeah. Yeah, everybody always brings out the Berserk references. Stone Sword key was lost with use. So coming over here, we've got a burned corpse. We get these in a couple places, but I don't really know if they're supposed to be significant always. Because in retail, there's the one that has the Cipher Pata in the Round Table Hold that's been burned, which I think could also imply that the Erdtree should have been burned if they've got a burned corpse in there. But with Alberich doing his stuff, who's to say that somebody else couldn't have just burned those corpses in the Round Table Hold? There's like 2 or 3 charred remains there. Hey, Fire Monk Helm. Should be able to compare that to this one. Wait, what? Oh, okay. It just looked like that for a second. Okay, so this has like an extra paragraph. So it's attire of the fire monks. Worshipping fire and wielding flame, these brawny warrior monks claim to descend from the giants of old. Well, obviously, that got revised a bit, I'm pretty sure. Do I think there's a connection to be made with the Formless Mother and the Fell God? Mogzarine is found, erupted similar to the Erdtree, and Fire Giant sparks similarly and offers his leg. Do I think there's a connection between the Formless Mother and the Fell God? At first thought, I would say no, but I'm not opposed to there being a connection, but I just don't think there's enough there for me to go with it. Just because the Flame of Ruin seems distinct from Blood Flame, more specifically. Yeah, they're outer gods both. That's their connection. Very well. Is Astanex still working on that essay over there? Or maybe their message got eaten? Alright, so anyway. The reason this is my favorite catacomb is because of this guy right here. Actually, there's a lot, so it's not just this one. So, for whatever reason, coming through this catacombs, there are banners of the Two Fingers. And so, even like beyond just the Two Finger sigil there, one thing that I really like about these banners is they kind of also symbolize, like, kind of how the two fingers like point out here. They've also got like the Cipher Pata script, the pseudo Elvish type stuff. I ignored the Dragon's Dogma tag. I haven't played it, so I don't know exactly what you're saying. No, Astanex, I only saw the one. I only saw the one of two. Like, if you look at my screen on like the stream, you can see I only ever see this one, and then there's nothing else. So sorry. Okay. So one of the reasons why I really am curious about the Two Finger sigil being here is because that should establish that the Two Fingers were probably around before the war against the giants or during it, which, you know, really shouldn't be that surprising. But because there's such little information on them to go with, it's just any little hint is kind of a welcome one. And to be fair, like, this catacomb could have been erected after the war against the giants, so this doesn't necessarily mean the Two Fingers predate it, but I don't really think there's too much reason to doubt it. And also within this catacomb, we've got trolls kind of venerated within it everywhere. He communes? Whomst. I don't remember what I said. Alright, so coming in here is the only way you can farm one of the coolest looking weapons in the game, even though it's not like super fantastic. There's really nothing I can do about that? Okay. What if all the flame of ruin burning? What if it's all the flame of ruin burning different things? Zeostorm pointed out that you can hear a woman's voice whenever he communes, and it sounds similar to the voice from the cauldron. Oh, with the Moog stuff? Okay, that's what Teen Sith was asking about. You don't think the Fell God is referred as an outer god, but you could be wrong. I would need to double check, but I'm pretty sure he is. Okay, maybe I just shot too many arrows the first time. So this guy has the same sword as the Black Flame monks in the Kayla Divine Tower, but the Black Flame monks over there don't actually drop it. Actually, I wonder if he'll use the weird flame style attacks. Let's get him in the more open area so I could just stomp on him. I wonder if these use any flame style attacks at this point. So when he uses Nihil, there's like the voice of a woman. I'll need to like pay more attention to that because I don't remember if that's there. The helm I'm wearing of reminds you of the Bloody Crow of Canehurst, just not as cool. I like Moog's theme, but I don't remember if there is that kind of ethereal feminine voice. So this dude's not using any incantations. That's kind of weird. There we go. So that's definitely not black. That also didn't have the sigil coming out of it. Oh my god. Oh, you pulled up a video of the fight? Okay. Oh, yeah. I thought about it, and I just didn't talk about it. So, in here we have the sigil of the ancient Erd Tree. This is kind of what Rosis's light points to. And this dude is supposed to be Rosis. He looks like the little dragonoid type dudes that point to every catacomb. And the reason why I say like kind of like dragonoid is because they have like 3 toes and they have like claws and this weird little bramble crown. I've wondered whether or not Rosis and the catacombs could predate the age of the Erd Tree, but this kind of like would suggest not, and it's kind of all over the place in terms of trying to establish when these were built. But if Fair Missoula's Elden Ring depiction is older than this one, at the very least, these catacombs are younger than the Fair Missoula stuff, I guess. Which, you know, could make perfect sense. It's just a little bit difficult trying to piece together all the environmental lore because it seems to pull one way and then it can pull a completely different direction sometimes. You'd have to see the fight with that music with Moog. The Storm of Jupiter on the Fell God's Eye is interesting since Fair Missoula is Jupiter or Zeus coded into... Uh-oh. Oh, since the Fair Missoula is Jupiter or Zeus coded to you, lightning storms and the eagles, makes you wonder if the greater will is the will of several gods. Yeah, I don't know if the greater will is more or less just the collective unconscious of the dead, or if it's actually its own thing. It's one thing that I'm pondering quite often. Oh yeah, we could have just... Man, that was a waste of a stone sword key, wasn't it? Oh no, I don't think I could have jumped that high. Thought there were imps here. Yep, okay. Oh, right. No, it hit it. Why did that happen? So when he does his nihil attack, you can even use it when... Damn it. I don't know where the imp went. There it is. Let's get it away. Do I have the lamp, or is it not in this version? Which lamp are you talking about? Just the lantern? Oh, you want to know if the sound effect that they're talking about is used on the Spear's Ash of War? So we get the Hallowed Candle Stand. This is a cool one. Where is it? Okay. Oh, it's a hammer. Candle stand used in worship of Birak, most hallowed giant of the fire monk prelates. Concerned over the pride and callousness with which the monks wielded their flame, Birak severed his own head as a lesson to the others, intending it to be used as a candle stand. His faith yet smolders within the cranial vessel. So there is an actual, like, skull in this. Kind of hard to show off. Oh, no, it's like the bottom part. That's right. So they turned his head into a stand. I guess there's like a depiction of an eye on it. Never noticed. Huh. The explosion of the triumphant beast. So at least with the Moog stuff, like I've ran across the internal files, like the audio, and at the very least there's a separate audio effect that gets triggered when he uses his Nihil attack, because he used to, maybe not used to, because there is audio that has him counting to up to 5 in Latin, or down from 5 in Latin. I don't know if they ever intended for him to use all 5 numbers. They might have just tried to cover themselves. Oh, we got Rosis. Or cover their bases, rather. So there's some other stuff to do over here. I don't remember. It's up over here. Because I know we'll need to hop down and then we go fight the prelate. Should probably just go ahead and use my flask. Somewhere a heavy door is opened. And that troll didn't have a bunch of hair on it, I guess. Never mess with flame hooks. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's how you get all the way up to where there's a thing. Oh, no. This is the dual Crucible Knight fight, isn't it? What? What was that? What did I just kill? I'm so freaking paranoid now. A ghost? Okay, at least I'm not the only one. Like, the heck? Does the sentry torch reveal them? Oh, do I even have that? I think I did buy it, or maybe I only showed it off. Fudge. I killed the little guy. Alright, well, if that thing's still there, I mean, I might die. Oh yeah, this is the ancient hero of Zamor. I think it's Oriza's grave that has the Crucible Knight. And because this dude is in the giant conquering hero's grave, it's pretty much implied that he fought giants. And we are told that the Zamorians were the enemies of the giants since ancient times. What is this? Oh yeah. So one thing that Sinister Stromboli and I have noticed and wondered... Oh shoot. Maybe it's doing a bit too much work. Is whether or not the Zamorian's weapon is supposed to kind of represent the snake. Because when it has ice and stuff on it, it kind of gets like extra fangs. Like it does have fangs on it, but it kind of resembles the Serpent God's curved sword. So we have the Zamor curved sword, the Zamor mask, armor, bracelets, and the leg wraps. So let's check out both of those real quick. Weapon wielded by the Knights of Zamor who earned great renown during the War of the Giants. In apparent devotion to winter, the curved blade is styled to appear as if frozen, inflicts powerful frostbite effect. In a certain way, this kind of reminds me of like the Shotel type weapons of the Tumerian attendants? No, no, no. Not the elders, but the other two Marion dudes that would, like, break their weapon into two, or like the Blades of Mercy. Anyway. Might be kind of hard to show this off. So this one is obviously very much snake-shaped. Let's go over here. It's a little bit brighter. Okay. Yeah, so that's very obviously like snake-shaped. Big surprise. And this one isn't quite snake-shaped, but it's somewhat similar, so it might be a little bit of a stretch, but it is kind of interesting. Actually, the little patterns on it kind of remind me of Godfrey's, but they're definitely different. I probably shouldn't have even said that because they're different enough. Tell the lore about the Invisible Man. Well, you see, it was placed there from Tanimura, who directed Dark Souls 2. So it's just one of those invisible hollows, man. Yeah, and Mucho points out that they're as tall as Ratigan and they're heroes and have similar hair. You're not sure you agreed, though? Snail-shaped? Maybe. I don't know. So, they're very tall. They could potentially be related to the Newman because the Newman are described as a quote-unquote cold-blooded race, and that's meant literally. And that line also bothered me, but it is written not as hearsay even in Japanese, so like the Newman are actually like cold-blooded, and they're a different race / alien race. But alien doesn't necessarily mean like outer space alien, just... I think this dude gives us the prelate set. I thought it's supposed to drop something. Great Grave Glovewort. We already got one of those when we opened up the Finger Slayer Blade throne. Don't think we want to go down there just yet. Cold-blooded snake god makes sense. Literally ancient aliens, exactly. Invisible Man? What? You know about the hidden sentry guards, but not some invisible man? No, this one was an invisible hollow. Okay, so it just went the same way. I'm my favorite enemy type. How do we trigger Rosis over here again? Not like this. Run away. Run away. Run away. Okay. How could those primitive old people build those ruins? Aliens. Exactly. Wouldn't it be the first time you've been surprised or seen surprised aliens in a game? And that's how we get up top. I remember killing those two Erdtree Burial. Oh yeah, we sent him all the way down, and then how do we... Is there even a lever for this right now? Oh, I'm just blind. And then that's how you could kill the two watchdogs. But I'm pretty sure they didn't even actually have anything that was worthwhile to loot. Alright, so that's that section of the game. The Gleiss Ruins. Takes us all the way down there from up here. From up there. Wait, no. Did I never get the first Site of Grace? Not that there's a second one, really, but... Time to warp to the entrance and then rest at it. You check the blood flame stuff. You could dupe a remembrance. Alabaster Lords are the closest. Oh yeah, to the Zamorians. You wish there was more to them in the game than fighting some geriatric old men. Yeah. You don't know if you feel comfortable saying it's a female voice and the way it's been referred to? Like there's a bit of a vocal effect? Okay. I think they would just assume it's a feminine voice because of the formless mother. I don't think I've ever really looked at this. I didn't realize just how close it was up there. For some reason, I thought it was like further this way. That's definitely my bad then. Okay. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go. Let's go fight Okina, and then we'll come across to the Borealis place and then go to that church over there. And then probably enter the Forbidden Lands. Or do the right guard stuff. Where am I going? What did I just say that I was doing? Oh yeah, Okina. Wait, it spawned me up there, didn't it? It's kind of weird. You spent hours taking screenshots of the Haley Tree's architecture this week. Once you get there, you wonder if there's any differences in 1.0. I don't think there's any like major differences for there. I know that there's some pillars that appear in Path of Exile, which is kind of hilarious to me. Hey, we're at the cap. Oh, I have enough to upgrade, but nothing beyond that. Really? Okay. So beyond the dogs that we saw earlier, we're also going to get a lot more of the crows and some more of the finger crawlers. And one thing that I've wondered particularly about the crows is because they're carrion type enemies, not like enemies, but carrion type beings, as well as the dogs. They seem to be eating corpses. I've wondered if part of the reason they've become gigantic is because they're eating the dead and or the gold within the dead. Which is a little bit strange because you just assume that like anything that was omnivoric or carnivorous should be giant based off of that logic. But I guess maybe the Miranda flowers are kind of similar. Dude, this took us so far away from the entrance of the church. Oh yeah, I should not screw around with Okina. He can slap. Because he has a broken Rivers of Blood. Like I have a broken Uchigat. He has on like the White Lotus set. So we get Rivers of Blood. And that'll be relevant in a little bit too. Church of Repose. Hey Boris, welcome back to the stream. Double shifts again. Well, I appreciate you coming in regardless. Rivers of salt indeed. So, fighting broke with broke, yeah, fire with fire. One thing that you missed, Boris, was us going through the giant conquering hero's grave and me showing off like the sigil of the two fingers on the banners there, as well as like the banners having depictions of the two fingers on them. So it's one of my favorite places. We also went through the Flame Garrison and showed off that the Flame Guardians have on the tree spear, not tree spear, like the tree guardian masks. So they're placed there by the order, essentially.
We're almost there. The Forge of the Flame of Ruin lies just ahead. I'm glad it was you I traveled with. I must tender my thanks to Torrent, too. Thank you, Torrent. Please continue to lend your aid. Till the end. Shall I turn your runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow. It is done.
So no spoken echoes of Queen America linger here. And I don't know why some of these churches are named the way that they are. Like, this is the first one. This is the Church of Repose. You'd almost assume that, like, this should have been the first one if they came from the Hiln or whatnot, but why isn't this the second one then, or anything along those lines? So, setting that aside, let's go get to the next site of grace, which is really close by, oddly enough. And then we'll hop on over to the Borealis location. I was ahead of Nightbot. I hydrated while Molina was talking. Alright. Mountaintops of the Giants. Let's check this out again. It's always fun. So that's the church over there. The kiln. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe we can show this off here. No, maybe not. I do wish I had the free cam because I could kind of show it off, but when you look at the map of the mountaintops, there's this kind of big ravine here, which is, you know, it's whatever. But when you take the free cam out and like really zoom out, okay, this will kind of show it off too. These things are kind of all broken apart, and it almost looks like they should all fit together like a puzzle piece, like pushing them together like Pangea style when you like put South America next to Africa. That is kind of almost exactly what looks like should be the case of the mountaintops of the Giants. Just to kind of poorly show that off. I don't think we can really do it with this though. So I really, really wish they would have added a photo mod or photo mode into the games. So like this part and this part should be connected. I guess the bridges were probably predating like the split. So maybe not everything was fully split off. You got invaded here more times than you'd like to recall. Am I planning on giving Grank all the death route before the Malekith fight? Yes. So we will go to the hidden area next and get the death route that's there. Our boy Borealis should be showing up right about now. Borealis, the freezing frog. That's really annoying. I forgot he can do that. Oh my god. That just did way more damage than I expected. Yeah, the jellyfish are up a little bit higher. But the jellyfish are totally in and around the lake. FromSoft should have had a Where's Waldo type with all the telescopes, like Ashes flipping you off, looking through the telescope. That'd probably be a funny mod idea. He didn't like being called the freezing frog. Do not recite the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. Pretty much what he's telling me. That almost killed me again. Really glad I leveled the crap out of my vigor. Oh, this is the slam attack. Get away! Oh, I'm still frozen, so we should be fine. That wasn't the time to get away. I'm out of the juice. I need to have some MP apparently. You guys lied to me. It doesn't give you infinite FP. No, 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 no. I probably deserve that. You're still using Exeg's Rot Breath whenever you fought him. It's a really strong incantation. Obviously not Hoarfrost's Step strong, but they had to nerf it for a reason. Spectre accidentally triggered the Fire Giant's boss stream like a genius. Luckily, he didn't start the fight properly, so he teleported out. Okay. Can't stomp on him when he's up there. He's found my real weakness. Oh, how did that not finish it? Dragonheart. we should probably go to Caelid sometime to just see the different types of dragon communion things we can do. And I should also use the flask tiers that I'm about to have in my inventory. Thanks for the GG, Stella. Percent health damage is always busted. That's why your Lord Farquaad character is rocking the Black Flames right now. It's amazing how many good spells there are early on. It's even more amazing when people get dropped Rivers of Salt so they can use it at level 1. Somber Miners, Spellbearing 3. Not that we've been using the super one. The somber ones, rather. First Church of America. Flask tier. You have no idea if it's bad now, but Rot was crazy when you were playing during the opening weeks. Yeah, so they nerfed it a little bit. You beat the game before a lot of the big patches were implemented. Yeah. So, like, a lot of things got better and some certain things got nerfed. Like, Colossals, they buffed poison stuff. But, here we go. Big lore time.
Spoken echoes linger here. Words of Queen Marika, who vanished long ago. If you wish, I will share them with you. In Marika's own words, hark, brave warriors. Hark, my Lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let a new epoch begin, an epoch glistening with life. Brandish the Elden Ring for the age of the Erd Tree.
So, going back to what I mentioned with the one sword monument that doesn't have any text, this also calls into the question when the Erd Tree truly came into being, because the age of the Erd Tree could be separate from the actual inception of the Erd Tree. So this dialogue could be taken to mean that the Erd Tree didn't exist quite yet until Godfrey brandished the Elden Ring. But like I was saying earlier, that just doesn't align super well with how Ania said burning the Erd Tree is the first cardinal sin. It makes it sound like it's happened before, and if the flame of the giants was sealed after the war against the giants, then when could the Erd Tree have been burned unless it already existed during this war? And there is the smithing stones which say that the giants were the mortal enemies of the Erd Tree, so that would imply that the Erd Tree had to actually exist for them to be the mortal enemies of it and whatnot. Or maybe it's the Roar Medallion, one of the two. And to be fair, the description that for that is stated as hearsay, or maybe it's Surge O Flame. It's one of the silly things that I can't remember. So there's nothing that's ever actually explicit about when the Erd Tree first came into being, which is really frustrating. Because the games that FromSoft makes often present information one way that benefits how the characters in the game want themselves and their like factions and dynasties and orders. They want their stuff to be perceived a certain way. So there is a bit of propaganda to everything. So it makes it harder to discern what's actually true versus what people want to be true in the game, as well as like out of the game in terms of like people's headcanons and stuff like that. So I know the way that I approach lore can ruffle feathers because I'm a bit pedantic about being literal with the text in terms of like its interpretations, and I'm not just speaking of like Japanese to English stuff. Just in general, that I try to be as literalist as I can to a degree. But I do think it's important nonetheless because certain theories won't have as much weight if you could if they're just taken as fact. Like the Glowmide Queen and Melina stuff, that's a potential example of questioning what's at like face value, because Melina is Melina, but is she the Glowmide Queen? Maybe, maybe not. There's certain reasons to believe it, but there's nothing that's ever explicitly stated versus against it. And Melina has her kind of own agenda, but it's a little bit strange that she could also sacrifice herself to burn the Erd Tree and not ever really fulfill her goals. But I digress. I've just kind of been on a tangent, so I'm going to go catch up with you guys. Boris got by Nightbot for the emoji spam. I need to fix that. I keep forgetting. It was around this point that Ponyboy switched to power stancing Cestus and Vike's Dragon Bolt to be a cool Dragon Ball character. Nice. What does it even mean to brandish the Elden Ring? You never understood. So, since Marika has it inside her and seems to be and she seems to call the shots anyways, that's a really good question because we don't exactly even know what the Elden Lord does. Like, we obviously get the Elden Ring and we sit on a chair, you know? That's like one of the other reasons why I'm really kind of bitterly disappointed about the states of the endings, plural, because that could answer like a lot of questions about this, because that's a really good question. Like, what does the Elden Lord do? What does brandishing the Elden Ring do? So, like I was mentioning before with the giants being all petrified by roots and stuff, I have wondered whether or not that's like the Elden Ring's power, whether or not that's what Godfrey did with the Elden Ring, based on Melina's quote of Marika's spoken echoes lingering here. But we don't really know about that. Those are kind of a lore black hole, unfortunately, and you can make up a bunch of different theories that could potentially fit what they are, right? So, going back to whether or not Godfrey brandishes the Elden Ring and what that means. To brandish the Elden Ring, like if you think of it like brandishing a weapon, that would mean to wield the Elden Ring. So it can be used offensively as well as like controlling the order, I guess, which is pretty wild. But yeah, I don't really know. Astynax always imagines it like him calling forth a giant symbol of the Elden Ring, like a flag. The Elden Lord seems to be just the figurehead, hence it can change on need. I don't know if he's the figurehead, because he is said to have gone like mano a mano against the Stormlord. Mucho thinks they're only needed to sire future Empyreans, and brandishing is what they tell them as cope. Ponyboy kind of assumed that, unlike the previous Elden Lords, we just took the power away from Marika and essentially took her place. Yeah, I don't know if Marika like enters our body as a kind of replacement for Melina, to be honest. Because Marika and Radigan are one person. Are Melina and the Tarnished one person? Obviously, I'm being a bit rhetorical here. I don't really fully believe that by any means. But with that said, like she does like allegedly walk around and do her own thing, but she's kind of like Ronnie in a way. Him going one-on-one with the Stormlord was because they needed a warrior leader. In times of peace, he is made to bear Sirash and claim and calm down. Sorry, I can't read. Okay. So yeah, pretty much everything about the genesis of the Erd Tree is questionable, which is always fun to deal with. / sarcasm. Miyazaki did say the ring is metaphysical besides being inside the body, so maybe that has something to do with it. Alright, So next we will go towards the cave to get the golden greatsword and hopefully avoid all the prawn along the way. My hopes have been dashed. Damn. Oh Lord, it's still coming. That is over there. I tend to forget where this cave actually is sometimes. Oh my goodness. There we go. Oh yeah, I think part of the reason for like me not remembering where it is just because of Borealis. A lot of times I've come here, it's just been icy. Because I haven't bothered to fight it. Spiritcaller Cave. Wait, no, this is not the golden one. This is the Godskin Swaddling Cloth one. So the Golden Order one is... Okay, that's the one in the Consecrated Snowfield, I think. Okay, so let's go to the Cathedral of the Dragon Communion in Caelid first. Then I'll come back up here just to get the Godskin stuff, because they're always cool and actually kind of hard to deal with here. You have to look at the Edge magazine interview again. Godric failed to become an Elden Lord because he didn't graft prawns on his arms to snipe everyone. Yeah, for real. What am I doing? Drago Nice. Channels Drake to breathe frost. So Borealis' mist doesn't say anything. So the retail version of this says that the ice dragons were driven from the top by the fire giants, but the Japanese for that is listed as hearsay, which kind of makes sense to me because it's questionable when the ancient dragon's descendants came into being. So even though there isn't like tons of reason to doubt that the ice dragons were chased off the peak, it is, you know, possible that they weren't, and it could just be like a story. Either way. This is a fun little cave. So our snail is already doing its thing over there, summoning wolves. So one of the things about these snails that I've wondered is whether they've gotten their powers from like the water over here. And these spirits can bleed, I guess? It's so strange. The snails themselves are corporeal, but the wolves and whatnot are not. But unfortunately, despite me wondering if they're like related to this kind of like spirit water that might be similar to the stuff that comes out of like the ancestral infant heads or the things that the shaman ladies spray, I don't think that actually works out to be true because we do get the snails all over LFIL. So I guess there's supposed to be 3 items here, but only 1 corpse. Got it. Trying to get eaten by the grab attack? Wait, who's grab attack? The prawns? I almost called them scorpions. So coming into this area, we have Okina's disciple, Inaba, who uses seppuku and is also wielding or wearing the Land of Reed set, the white set. despite being a ghost, he can bleed. And I did try to like look at his eyes. I do think they are kind of red tinged, which could be like related to the Moog stuff. But I think the Moog stuff, or like the Land of Reed's blood-soaked madness, was predated, or predates Moog rather. Oh yeah, the other thing about the snails is they're kind of snake-like. They're not really like any snails that I know of, with their forked tongues. Freezing grease. The snails have a grab attack? Okay. We'll try to show that off. We got the golden-eyed spirit over here. So yeah, we also have a bunch of silver fireflies because we're like underground or away from the light. So that should have summoned Inaba again. I think we got it. Oh no, he's back. I don't remember if this thing will keep summoning wolves or not. If it does, I might need to forego, like, trying to bait out a grab attack. Oh, it's got golden eyes too. Dang it. Oh no. Yeah, just keep spawning the wolf. Is it supposed to, like, land on me and grab me? You don't recall snails having scales either? Doesn't look like it can hit me, 1.0 bug. Yeah, they're not doing the best of jobs. You're just trying to get me to waste my health vials. So we get the Godskin duo. That's not quite the full duo yet. I should have known better. No. Alright. Now our boy should pop up. Spiritcaller Snail. Don't you summon that, Juju. Godskin underpants. Ah, man, I was trying to dual wield and look cool. So we got the Godskin Swaddling Cloth as well as Black Flame Ritual. So that completes this little area. Next, we can go back to the Rift of Lold. Isn't the current consensus in the lore community that the bright ethereal Erd Tree we see in the game came about after the Great Tree was burned? So the timeline looks something like Crucible, Great Tree, Erd Tree? Maybe. I mean, people have their own opinions. I don't really know what most people think. Because I'm not sure, like, most people are even, like, really up to date on the lore. Although, I guess you did say the community more specifically. Actually, I wonder if the Swaddling Cloth really works with the Hoarfrost app in this version of the game. Sacred Cloth of the Godskin Apostles, made from supple skin sewn together. Successive attacks restore HP. The Queen in Black cradles newborn apostles swaddled in this cloth. Soon they will grow to become the death of the gods. So this is another reference to the Queen in Black, which is kind of similar to the Godslayer's Greatsword. Although this one uses camel case for whatever reason. And then we got Black Flame Ritual, which probably doesn't say anything. Yep. Black Flame Wall around caster. Alright. Wasn't Millennia called the Queen in Red in development too? I don't know about that. I think I might have heard something about that, but yeah, I couldn't tell you one way or the other. And we don't know about the significance of the Godskin stuff in the cave, since it seems a bit small to be the Glowmite Queen's crib, unless it was a hideout. Yeah. And also, just like why the Golden Order Greatsword would be up here as well. Since Radigan should have gotten it after he went to Liurnia and then returned to Lanedale. So why did he come all the way back up to the forge? The Misbegotten have a habit of pilfering legendary weapons. That's true, they do have the Rune's Greatsword as well. Alright, so this brought us all the way up here. It's kind of interesting that it just like automatically teleports us to the other side. Hidden path to the Halig tree. What's the Crusader called in Japanese? The Leonine Misbegotten? The Aberrant Crusader? Is that what you're asking? I'm trying to remember. I think it was something similar to Crusader, actually. Which kind of surprised me. I thought there was a side of grace in there. Is this... No, this just has the stake for the while. So we did get a bunch more pygmies and like land octopi here for some reason. Freezing greases. Oh no, the pygmy. Oh yeah, what the octopus just did right there was it ate one of its limbs and it regenerated some of its HP. Which I think is like a really kind of cool attack. And after a while it can regenerate one of its tentacles. Piccolo style. You always wondered why things like the land octopi wind up underground. They're aquatic beings? No, these aren't aquatic, they're land beings. Nicola's lilies are often found near the octopi, which you find interesting. Okay, I didn't realize that. Auto cannibalism, good for what ails you. This one? Where is our little path? Okay. Okay, I says. It probably was further. Yeah, I don't trust Stakes of America so much in this version of the game, which is why I ran over to get the Side of Grace. But I gotta throw some poop to find the right path. I just need to open my eyes and look for the one window that actually looks different. Apparently. No, I'm just farming for runes, guys. It's totally it. The pygmies, they just give you a ton. Nailed it. This spot, isn't it? No, that one has candles, right? So I jumped for that one? Or is it where the... Nope, it's definitely this one. For a second, I thought I was going to keep following, and it really was the candle one right after I said that. Silver Scarab. It just occurred to Revenant that maybe the reason Lindell doesn't have a telescope is so that people wouldn't come to see beyond the capital walls, considering it's magic and gives the bird's eye view. Does it not have a bird's eye telescope? What am I doing? I am almost walking off the world. Okay, I did think there was a dude over there. I tried rolling twice and it did nothing. Oh no. Sacramental Bud. We get some of the actual like tombstones down here that you find above ground. So maybe some catacombs predated the Erd Tree and whatnot, and maybe others didn't. Or don't. I don't know. Alright, so this one is a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's literally just a straight shot. Is there an item that lets you see the path, like a torch? Maybe. I kinda doubt it. But we can try the entry one. Oh yeah, I was supposed to show off the other dude to see if he's actually there. This just shows hidden things, apparently. Or hidden people. I knew he was there. Oh, it lived. Okay. The budding cave moss. Actually, I wonder. This is probably not the best of ideas. Oh, cool, it doesn't trigger it. Not that I'm gonna, like, do nearly enough damage because this thing has thousands of HP. But at least now I know, right? Invisible paths in game design need to die. They can be good. I think one issue, like, I was wondering this about, like, why I think it feels so bad to like miss items in Dark Souls. Like it feels like you have to do everything in these games a lot more than some other ones with their quote unquote optional content, is because oh no, where's its face? I'm not having a good time. One of the issues with like the Souls game is the story is told through its items for the most part, so it feels really bad to miss out on things due to RNG or just like not finding literally everything compared to other games that are kind of like this, other like action platformers or whatever you want to call them. I think there's some more pygmies under there. So we've got the ghost guy, skeleton dude, whatever you want to call him. Like Ash Lake, yeah. Ash Lake is such a huge area. Well, I don't know. Like it's kind of barren, obviously, but just in terms of like world building, people remember the first time they go to Ash Lake, you know? And that's just something that's so easily missable. And kind of the same thing with the Painted World. We hid it behind 2 fake walls, a place with critical lore and important quest line. Yeah. It feels so dirty. For a moment, it looked like the octopus was balancing on its one tentacle. If you never go down there, you'll never know exactly. Oh, the onion dude. Okay. So coming over here, we're gonna fight a really, really cool boss. Some say this is like the hardest boss in the game, and you have to really be good to beat them. Cause it's me, I'm the boss. I did it, I'm the best. Black Flame Monk of Mon's Ashes. Which is so strange that it's here of all locations. And then we get our Death Root. I think this is probably our final one that we actually needed. Nothing too crazy with him in this version. Summons the spirit of a giant's fire monk scimitar from a nearby rebirth monument. Summons giant fire monk scimitar. See, the thing is, I'm just so much better than even like the best boss in the game. That's what it is, Spectre. So return to the entrance. No, we can just warp on out. Fudge! No, I didn't need to do that. I forgot the talisman up there. Oi, oi, oi. Why I did that? Anyway, there's the little door at the top there. When you go up there... Ooh, octopus head. When you go up there, octopus head. No. There's the Halig Drake talisman times, like, tier 3. And I just got impatient. And I didn't get it. But we did get the octopus head. Wherever this is. Why is it so far down? Helm modeled after a land octopus. It's a little bit more bare bones. The best way to deal with it is a weak weapon with seppuku. Let the mob kill itself. Or you just get good. Have a super broken OP build and just capitalize on it before the Mimic does it. No, but in all seriousness, when you get to like the higher NG cycles, the Mimic tier fights are ridiculously tough. Because they're just so tanky and they can just one or two shot you. Beat Mimic tier quickly, your build is too weak. Get beat by Mimic tier quickly, you are weak. Exactly. There's no winning. It's the best cosplay for a Moog. Show me the path, O gentle lights. So the lights will guide us to the Halig tree is essentially what this dude's telling us. Where's our little site of grace? I should probably warp to Ordina just to get the map first. Yeah, I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to get the site of grace and then do that. You already passed it. No, I shouldn't have passed it. FromSoft heard that people hated Frigid Outskirts, so they made Frigid Outskirts for your Frigid Outskirts. There we go. Find the idiot who got stuck in the snow? Don't worry. I know where that guy is. And I also know what you're trying to do there. If you don't look at the archer, she can't get angry. Fudge. Consecrated Snowfield map. Oh yeah, in this version of the game, Anastasia's just chilling over there. So that's Anastasia, guys. Oh yeah, let's just go this way. Because there's the other side of Grace over here. Alright. What if you remove the equips in the higher New Game Plus cycles? So I know in the more current versions of the game they can like re-equip things. Maybe not armor so much, but they can just pull out weapons if you try not to do it. Alright, so here's the dude falling in the snow. Our quote-unquote dude falling in the snow. Oh lordy, coming! I thought I rolled way too early. Wait, did it just bleed silver? Oh. I will check that out on my free time, maybe, if I remember. That thing bleeds silver, doesn't it? Larval tier. I hope it bleeds silver, because that would be so thematic. Consecrated Snowfields and Environs. Okay. So let's zoom on back over here. You swear that bear can solo 90% of this game's bosses? Yeah, rune bearers are no joke. For real. I still would rather fight a rune bearer than an Erdtree burial watchdog, though. Oh yeah, we're over here. So I want to go to... It really doesn't show anything. Oh, I guess I need to like discover it first. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So... It should be like here. And then this should be the caravan path. As long as I just keep going that way, following the lights. I don't know if the rotten gladiator dude actually still drops his set stuff. In like the little graveyard area. Okay, we should be close then, right? No. Only a little further now. They're all talking about going to see the Halig tree, I guess. Nah, okay. I don't remember where the graveyard is. Or the caravan. I think I just need to follow the lights and that gets me towards the caravan. Oh, and I also need to do it at night. I'm silly. You hate the watchdogs and cats. You wouldn't be surprised if it could poise break the Elden Beast to death, especially in 1.0. I don't know, the Elden Beast has a lot of HP. And it's extremely mobile. We aggroed something. No, I can't even pull the map back out. Doesn't really matter, because as long as I know the cliff is over there... Should be right over here then. No, nope, I'm definitely wrong. What a jerk. Put me in combat and everything too. Trying to get to the Albinorc Rise. Also, do I actually have the Spirit Ashes? Yeah, I did. Okay. Pretty sure I bought them. I think they were by the Ray Lucaria dude for some reason this time around. The Ray Lucarian merchant next to the gate with the Bloodhound Knight, that is. Alright, Graven Masses. It's a good sign. Glintstone Craftsman's Cookbook. Sweet. Wait, can I even summon anything right now? Oh yeah, I see the icon. I was so annoyed with how you had to break this deal. Albinorc Glintstone Rise. It's always really hard to see in this one because of all the snow, but it looks like pretty much every other Glintstone Rise. Only this one's a little bit different when you get to the top, because we've got another... Don't scare the crap out of me. We got another random Graven School Mass up here within some purple glintstone. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have the spooky space type star effect that you'd get in like the Ray Lucaria one. So we get the Graven Mass Talisman from this one. Same description, except it greatly raises the potency of sorceries. So I don't know whether or not this implies that Selin was over here to create this, or whether or not it could have been a creation of Master Lusat or Azur, or just even a third person that we just don't know about. And it is also strange that this is the Albinorc Glintstone Rise. So maybe the Albinorcs created this? Or maybe the Albinorcs were first created here? I don't know. But no memory stone. Just the masses. Alright, so we showed that off. We do have the catacombs over there somewhere. And then we also have... I guess this is the Yellow Annex Tunnel. I always feel like it should be over here, though. It just feels off to me. I don't remember what's in this catacomb. So I'm just going to go to it. Not like super quickly, but fairly quickly. And then out. And then open the mine. And then probably do the Golden Order Greatsword cave next. Hey guys, found the caravan. Is it night yet? It's probably not night yet. Oh yeah, there's also the Kaiden dudes accompanying these caravans. And pages. But this should be big lore. Saint Trina's torch. Candlestand torch that burns with a violet flame. The carvings depict Saint Trina, but in adult form, somewhat unnervingly. The violet flame induces sleep. So I'll show that off a little bit later when we get into the catacombs and we can actually see things a bit better. No idea why Estella's there. Never understood. I think it has to do with despair. Because despair is what created eternal darkness. And Estella's called like the stars and bastard of darkness. So I think they're supposed to be linked. I don't think this is quite right. I'm not over there yet. Hey, that's pretty good. I'm kind of impressed with myself. Voice of the Old One says, "You're not sure, but you always took Selen being referred to as the Graven Witch when she killed a lot of people, but it just lit a light bulb in your head when you mentioned the Graven School. She probably did make them all." Okay. Glad to give you that little epiphany there. Wait, which one is this one called? Consecrated Snowfield Catacombs. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. So, as I've mentioned before on the previous streams, I've thought the Consecrated Snowfield, Mountaintops of the Giants, and the underground areas could be connected. And there's a couple of reasons why I think that. I'll leave the caravans for maybe next time. One of them is we do have the same kinds of trees down underground that show up here, and also we have the very odd ball frost lightnings that show up in both locations as well. So as we head more this way, it'll become a little bit more apparent that we have similar kinds of trees going on. It's kind of cool. There's also some shamans over here. Shamans, whatever you want to call them. That obviously isn't one of them. I just got distracted by the things on the ground because they looked weird. So they should be around here. No, they're further the other way. Okay. The nice cavalry guarding Trina's torch would imply Morgott isn't hostile to the Halig Tree, maybe? Just calling them traitors for not helping the Golden Order. It's a shame you don't get to talk to them. They look so interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to make of Morgott's affiliation. Like, he doesn't really seem to be attacking Godric and anything like that, so... Wait. Where are the shamans at? Where are all the women at? They should definitely be over there. Or are they on the other side? So, there are also some random Dragonkin soldier spirits, which is also a good reason to consider that this place should have been connected to the underground, because that would mean that there's probably a Nox connection between this area and everything else. So the Nox probably descended from the astrologers, and they might have only become the Nox after they got sent underground. I don't really know. But the Dragonkin soldier spirits are super strange because they just pop in randomly. They're not tied to Spirit Calling Snail. Even if you kill them, they'll just keep respawning indefinitely. You don't get any runes from them or anything like that. And I think there's like 3 or 4 that spawn in this location. And there's also some that spawn in like the Blizzard area as well. Which is why I don't travel too far west there if I can help it. Polar Smithing Stone. So we'll just grab the side of Grace down here and ride it back up. There was an item description saying the cavalry were once led by the Fell Omen, so maybe they went off on their own. I would need to double check that. Because I know there's one of the Ashes of War that say they like summon the shade of their mentor. And it's just a random dude. Not that I expected it to be Morgott or anything, but... You always thought Morgott saw the thorns and thought Elden Lord doesn't want anyone in, so no one gets in? You mean the Erdtree doesn't want anyone in? And then attacked Rykard for his extreme blasphemy, exhausting his forces, and unable to do anything else but guard the capital. Yeah, because that's also an interesting thing to bring up, that we do have like Leyndell going on in the offensive against Rykard, particularly. In a weird kind of stalemate. Okay. Hopefully I have a stone sword key. I've used a couple, but I've also bought a few. Okay, we should be good. It's evening, which makes me tempted to go fight the cavalry. But we will save that. Oh yeah, there's also a random magma worm that shows up. I was just worried about the crabs, thinking that they were prawns, but no. Magma worm. And this one is... Makar or Theodorix. No, Makar's the one in the Orishun Precipice. So this one might be Theodorix if Theodorix wasn't the one in the Volcano Manor. But I really like this cave, the Cave of the Forlorn. Get a random dragon frozen in the ice. You said Morgott had to have recognized Radagon's seal, right? You doubt he'd think it was just the Erdtree? That's also an interesting point to consider. We don't know when, where, or how Morgott was sealed underground, and for how long he was underground. So it could be possible that he didn't know too much about that. But I think that just kind of goes against his character with the way that he introduces all the demigods' thrones. Well, he's further down than I thought. Great Worm Theodorix. Okay. So we had people asking about how we knew the magma worms were trolls. It's because of this dude. If you could call it a dude anymore. Dragonheart times 3. So I must have done a lot of communion. Dang, 180,000. Some nascent butterflies. So over here is a frozen waterfall. So I've wondered whether or not this should have been connected to either the Shifra or the Ainsel rivers, and like this could be a continuation of one of them. But who really knows? I should have kited him over here to like break this thing. Maybe the land octopi could do it. Or the crab. Hawkshaw thinks he may have lived above ground as a kid for a bit in his Morgott video. Yeah, I think he would have lived above ground for a little while. At the very least. We always knew there were trolls. Nothing that spawns lava pools in small areas is anything but a troll. Due to his reasoning being that the shade of Godfrey is from Morgott's memory of Dad. Yeah, I think Goldfrey is probably a manifestation of Morgott's power as well. So we get the freezing grease. And in this cave, there's going to be a lot of misbegotten. Should probably put this on. I need to upgrade my weapon. Keep forgetting. Well, I've been thinking about it, but I've been putting it off because I want to keep the flow of action going. And also, let's be real here. You don't even really need to upgrade the weapon with Hoarfrost Stomp. I'm trying to remember if there's actually anything worthwhile in the offshoots. I know there's like 3 misbegotten if you go straight. They're like sleeping around stuff. Maybe upgrade materials. Maybe I do need it. This is not the one that I was talking about, by the way. The Bleed Freeze Stagger. Feels nice. These things are pretty janky. I don't think I ever increased my flask charges, despite talking about it like 3 times. I know I used my golden seeds for once, but I didn't use the tears. Rune Arc. Spirit Flame Arrow. Okay, yeah, not too much. Voice of the Old God wonders if it's a timeline implication as well, since the Godfrey Phantom doesn't have Sarash. We see a lot of paintings of them together. Yeah, I wondered that as well. Maybe he couldn't really clone Sarash because Sarash is already golden. But it could be a timeline thing because Godfrey's axe, or well, let's say Goldfrey, just to be a little bit clearer. Goldfrey's axe isn't broken. It's complete. So there is that kind of potential that it could have predated the Siraj times. But to be fair, there is also an item that says, like, when Godfrey decided to act like a lord is when he took Siraj on his back, which could make it sound like it should have happened before he became Elden Lord. But maybe he was already a lord and he was just still a beastly man and recognized he needed to change. Who knows? Thawfrost boluses and crystal darts. So there's no real reason to fight these other than to get them out of the way. These ones are kind of more annoying though because they can snipe you as you go down. Oh god. I thought I died. Okay. Alright, so I might die a couple times here and the run back is kind of annoying. But I do want to show off that the sigil for this Golden Order Greatsword was different back in this patch, which is kind of funny. So there will be showing the Erd Tree sigil instead of the Golden Order one when it uses its special attack. Only reason to swing your sword is to save FP. Yeah. There is a stake, but it's like before all the jellyfish. You wonder if the Crusader worked under Radigan since it has to have enough faith to use the sword's weapon art. That's another interesting point, like the faith requirement for it, that I didn't consider. Aberrant Crusader. In retail, he's called Leonine Crusader. Oh, sweet. That was like perfect timing. He just did it like immediately. So it does have like the Wave of Gold attack that I can use. I forget how delayed its attacks are. It's a real pain trying to actually farm it doing that attack. Because I tried hunting for footage of it because I thought it was like funny. I rolled too soon. Uh-oh. It's also because 1.0, I don't have the free cam mod, so I can't just like pause it real quick to show that stuff off super easily. And the Leonine Misbegotten always have the red glowy eyes, so it's not like anything special about this one. Which reminds me, I should probably show off like the Lux Ruin one. The Demi-Human Queen with the purple eyes. I have died before trying to hop down here. Like that jellyfish. So I'm a little bit cautious or worried about losing all those runes. Probably just that replicating Siraj on Godfrey was unnecessary, but fixing the axe is more like restoring the axe to its prime for battle? Maybe. That's fair, but if he's meant to be imposing and a defense, you assume Morgott would want him to be at his prime, so if Siraj was there, you'd think he'd at least include it in the illusion. Maybe he didn't actually know Godfrey when he had Siraj. Oh, I thought I died there. Come on, do it. I panic rolled too much that time. Come on, man. Give me the good footage. Of course, like, the very first attack that he did was the thing, and I was not going to redo it. Oh, that was really good, even though I was dead. That's perfectly fine for me. Hopefully you guys saw that, because they changed that. Obviously for good reason. Fun to show those kind of differences off. In your opinion, Radigan's perfection journey is one of Gnosis rejoining the one Plotinus? I don't know how to pronounce Greek things. Greek philosopher described the one intellect and soul. He was ashamed of his body and believed it should be escaped. Similar to Radigan being ashamed of his hair and seeking perfection, in your opinion. Cool. I know, like, a tiny bit about Gnosticism. Like, not a ton. Oh, I got stuck on the wall. Literally trying not to blink during that fight. Golden Order Greatsword. Oh yeah, and we still have to show off St. Trina's torch up close. Let's go by the dragon thing. Saras is basically a power level capper though, so it stands to reason if he wanted gold free to be intimidating, that he'd present a fully restored gold free without Sarash. Logic is a bit flimsy though. Yeah, it's a bit strange because without Sarash he fights with just his bare hands, so in some ways you could make the argument that he shouldn't have had his axe at all then. So St. Trina's torch, there's a depiction of a person that has like an inner mind's eye on it. So that's supposed to be St. Trina as an adult, and that's supposed to be unnerving. And it shows Mikola, essentially. So the eye motif, it kind of reminds me of Godwin, but not Godwin, Gideon. Too many G names. And so, I don't think they're actually connected. I'm just like making an observation. The things that are like coming out of its hair almost resemble snakes, but also they don't. It's just hair. Just gonna point out that some people could see it that way, but I don't necessarily see it that way. And then I think Teenseth, or maybe it was Stromboli, said that this like figure 8 looking chain design appears somewhere else, or maybe the runic symbols underneath the figure of the face like appear, like the two finger stuff all everywhere. Hey, yeah, that's a better image of it. Cool stuff. So the Golden Order Greatsword. Greatsword made of light, modeled after the Elden Ring itself. Forged by King Consort Radagon to proudly symbolize the tenets of the Golden Order. Telltale signs betray that this was once the greatsword bequeathed to him by his first wife, Brunhilde, or so it is said. So, hey guys, look, it is said, our favorite lore friend. I think there was a very slight difference in the Japanese, where it's a little bit clearer that... Hold on, let me just look at that. And then I'll look up the Crusader thing. So apparently in retail, it doesn't have that final part where it says, or so it is said. So Telltale signs betray that this was once the greatsword bequeathed to him by his first wife, Brunhilde. Oh, okay, I remember what the very slight difference was. And this is, very minor, but it's just something that kind of stood out to me. So Telltale Signs is a little bit more direct in the Japanese, where it's more like the remnants or like the vestiges of the blade betray that it was one given to him by Brunhilde. So there's like a little bit more to it. It's a little bit clearer that it's actually the same blade rather than just like there being signs. I don't know. Anyway, going back to its appearance, we have like Radagon's sigil kind of essentially in the midst of it. You can see it behind it. You can also see this in like the Elden Ring logo essentially for the game. You got the crisscross latticed design. You got the big old arc all around it. And this is supposed to be a depiction of his Elden Ring, or modeled after it. So I don't know if he came up with this design before he left Ray Lucaria, or if it was something he modeled later on his return to Leyndell. Like I've said before, I think the lattice design comes from how the Ray Lucarian gates have a similar kind of motif. So I think it's likely that he took Ray Lucaria's learning and applied it and put it into the Elden Ring to create it in his kind of order. So the Saint Trina is secretly in league with Rykard the snakes. It's all about the snakes. No, how far will the blasphemy go? It looks so cool and it's tinted red. You think this is tinted red? Oh yeah, I guess I can see it. Like there's like little flecks of it. That was just kind of my armor from... Yeah, I can see that now. Maybe it's just supposed to be more orange. So comparing this to the Darkman Greatsword, so this is like his blade is pretty much supposed to be modeled after something like this, which might have a tree inside it. Which I think is just super cool, even if it isn't like super obvious and, still kind of arguable. Doesn't Ronnie's quest largely imply that this is his marriage sword that he modified? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe I didn't say it as well as I thought I did. You wish all the weapons were as beautiful as that, but then it wouldn't be so unique. True story. Alright, so yeah, this is a good spot as any to stop for today. I will warp over to the Consecrated Snowfield to remind myself to go kill the caravan Knights Cavalry dude. I'll also set it to night before ending it there for today. So for everybody who's dropped in, commented, and lurked, as always, thank you for joining. Hopefully we'll catch you on the next stream where we will be going live again at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, thanks again and take care. Last Protagonist out.